Hey guys, so my name is Jennifer Turner, and I have been an educator in the state of Texas for 19 years now. And in those 19 years, I have kind of forced myself to learn how to use spreadsheets to make myself a better educator. So I used them when I was a classroom teacher on how to analyze my classroom data, but also how to keep up with things like accommodations and who gets what and did I offer it. And then now I'm a member of the campus leadership team, and I use it to help analyze my whole campus data to help us make instructional decisions for my campus. And if you have done any sort of search online trying to find videos on exactly how to do anything in spreadsheets, there are tons of really knowledgeable people out there making videos. But the problem that I ran into, and that if you found me, I hope that that maybe you're not running into it as much, is that they seem to speak a language I don't speak, and I'm not talking about English. They have some sort of business or maybe a specific spreadsheet data guru language that I never learned in all of my years in school and all of my teacher prep programs. And so I've had to figure out what they meant when they're talking about this stuff and figure it out. So I hope that this is helpful. My goal today is to show you how to do an X-Lookup and to use an education-friendly examples and also education-friendly language on what you're going to do and what you're going to and where you're going to find it. In order to do this, you have to first understand that V and X lookup are very similar. I have another video on this channel about VLOOKUP specifically. So V and X lookup are very similar. They both do ultimately the same thing in that you have information in one place and you have information in another place and you want to merge them. And you can use V or X lookup to merge them. The differences come in that in VLOOKUP, if the information you're going to look for is in multiple columns, then you can use a VLOOKUP. And you're going to need to, because in an XLOOKUP, it has to all be in one column, what you're going to look for. Another difference is that if the information you're going to look for is in one column and the answer comes before it to the left of it, you're going to have to use an XLOOKUP because VLOOKUP will not go backwards. It finds it and then goes to the right to get your answer only in VLOOKUP. So just know those are things to pick and choose which one you need based on what your data looks like and what you're trying to do. So let me show you here. I have a list here of sample student names. Let's say you're middle or second, some sort of secondary teacher. So you've got about 120 kids. Got about 120 names. You'll notice that these names are all celebrities and famous people. I've mimicked a format you would see in education, but all of my data is totally made up, right down to the demographics. I just mimicked the format, but protecting my campus. None of this comes from for real. So you have a list here of your students, and you have looked up who made the honor roll and who didn't. And now you're like, you know what? I really want to send them like a little treat because they worked really hard for the kids who made the honor roll. And so you want to send them the treat, but you don't want to do it through your class. You want to do it maybe through the homeroom or seventh period or a different period, but not through your class so that you can do them all at one time. And so you might want to do that. And so you're going to create a column. I'm going to do seventh period teacher. And label what it's going to be. Well, now you have to get the student schedules. In my district, our SIS, our Student Information System, is eSchool. You might have something else. I know there's a couple major players in the world that do this, that house all the student information, demographic information, all of that. So if you have eSchool, you can download through Cognos this counselor schedule report. If you don't have eSchool, there's probably one just like that in there. You just have to find it. So this is a list of students, who their counselor is, and then it's got all of their schedule information. So where they're at first period, what they have second period, and on. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this, Control-C, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to create a new tab in here, and I'm going to right-click and paste special values only. Anytime that I have information that I have pulled from one of my student information systems and I'm using it for data, I always paste this value. It gets rid of any weird merging, any weird formatting, all of those weird things that's going to mess you up later when you try to run data. It gets rid of all of them. And so paste as value. So now I have student schedules on one sheet and I have my list of my students here. So I want the seventh period teacher. I'm going to do equals X lookup That equal sign triggers to your spreadsheet that you want it to perform something for you. You want it to do a calculation, you want it to do a find, you want it to do something for you, and that you want the answer to whatever you're going to tell it to do. So equals X-Lookup. You're going to choose a unique identifier, the first one in your sheet that you want it to look for. I like student IDs. I have about 1,000 kids on my campus, and every single year for the last 10 years, I've had at least 2 students with the same first and last name. So name is not unique on my campus, but if you're talking about your elementary school classroom, you probably could go with name because it's highly unlikely you have 2 kids with the exact first and last name. So just keep in mind who your students are and what their information is, and choose what you're going to look for that's really going to be unique and could not be a duplicate. You can't have more than 1 kid with that same information. So my unique identifier, comma, space. Now I'm going to tell it where to look. So I got to come over here where the schedules are, and I want it to look here in column B because that's where the student IDs are. And then I'm going to do comma, space, and I'm going to tell it what to tell me, which I said 7th period teacher. So I'm going to scroll and scroll and scroll some more until I get to period order 7 teacher. And if it finds that ID, I want it to give me that 7th period teacher. And if I double click there, it's going to copy down. We can see all of the teachers. If you have one that has a hashtag NA, like Kate Blanchett here, all right, so that means that this ID number was not found. Chances are, if you have something like this, what happened is between when I ran the honor roll data and when I pulled the student schedule, Kate withdrew and she's moved somewhere else. But if Kate is still there, then you're going to want to investigate. Maybe you typed the ID number wrong, right? And so you can see here we've got 2 Kate Blanchetts. So maybe I typed that ID number wrong when I put it in there, and I'm going to need to go over here and search and find the Kate Blanchett I'm talking about and make sure the ID number is right. So we've got, let's see here, Control F. So 380156. That one's there. So the other one should be 370391. 370391, and now there we go. So I just mistyped it there. So now I have all of their 7th period teachers, and that was going from looking here and finding the answer to the right, but X-Lookup will also go backwards, and this is something that VLOOKUP doesn't do. So what if maybe you just had, I'm going to hide this so we can pretend for a minute, you just had a list of student IDs, and you want to know who are those kids? Who are they? So I can do an X-Lookup and go backwards and find out. So I'm going to do equals X-Lookup, open parentheses. I'm going to look for the ID number because that's the only unique identifier I have in this situation. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to tell it to look in column B because that's where the ID numbers are. And if it finds it, I want it to give me column A. I want you to tell me who that kid is. And so here we go. Now we have the kids' names. So if for some reason, and you notice here it pulled both Kate Blanchetts, if for some reason you have ID numbers but not a name, or a name and not an ID number, then you can do that. Just be careful if you go from name to ID number, that if you have any kids with 2 of the exact same name, then it's going to pull the first one, the answer it finds. And so you would end up with the same ID number in there twice. You'll have to double check those. But even in my campus with 1,000 kids, it's usually only 2 or 3 kids. It's maybe sometimes 4 that have the same name that I would have to go double check to make sure that I pulled the right ID number in for each kid. So that is X-Lookup in a nutshell. Equals X-Lookup, open parentheses, select the first cell with the unique identifier that you're looking for, comma, the column that you're looking for the information in, comma, and the column where you want it to give you whatever it finds, if it finds that ID number where it's looking, and it will pull it back. All right, so if you have questions about what I just said, please drop me a comment below. I'm happy to help you. I do not want you guys to have to do like me and be on a 10-year journey to learn these things. If you want to see X-Lookup in Excel, if you're not a Google district and you want to see it in Excel, drop me a comment. I'm happy to make a video. And if you're like, you know what, I cannot quite figure out insert whatever in Excel or Google Sheets, would you show me how to do it using educator-friendly examples? Then drop me a comment there. If I don't know how to do it, then I'm happy to learn. I always like learning new things. There's a reason why I chose to go to school every day for the rest of my life. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.